Galactic leaders watch in horror as humans withdraw from the talks. The Chamber of Concordance had hosted wars and ended them. Its walls were carved from matter older than most stars, its air tuned to accommodate 100 biologies at once. This was where civilizations came to argue, posture, threaten, and eventually compromise. Today was supposed to be routine. Ambassador Elaine Porter sat at the human delegation table, hands folded, posture calm. Around her, representatives of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations reviewed trade projections, defense pacts, and shared space regulations. The mood was confident, too confident. Supreme Arbiter Koresh clicked his mandibles in what passed for a smile. "With the unified accords ratified," he announced, "humanity will at last take its place under collective galactic governance." A murmur of approval rippled through the chamber. Elaine did not smile. She had spent years listening. Years watching how the room shifted when humans spoke, how allies leaned back, how rivals leaned in. The galaxy admired human ingenuity, but trusted it only when controlled. "Ambassador Porter," Koresh prompted, "your confirmation?" Elaine rose slowly. Her voice when she spoke was steady, almost gentle. "Humanity declines." Silence fell like vacuum. Several translators blinked, recalibrating. A Kasari delegate leaned toward her console. "Declines? Participation?" Elaine nodded. "Declines the accords. Declines governance under this body, and effective immediately." She paused. "Withdraws from these talks." The chamber erupted. "That's not possible! You requested this summit. Do you understand the implications?" Koresh raised his limbs for order, his calm cracking. "Ambassador, this council regulates trade corridors, defense coalitions, energy distribution. Withdrawal would leave your species independent," Elaine finished. That word did it. Fear rippled through the chamber. Not outrage, not anger. Fear! Because humans had already seen what dependence looked like, Elaine continued, projecting a data stream into the air. Not classified intelligence, not threats. History. "Every civilization here optimized for stability," she said. "Centralized systems, unified command, predictable responses." Images shifted. Collapsed networks, frozen fleets, civilizations brought low by a single failure point. "You call it efficiency," she said softly. "We call it fragility." A Threxian warlord scoffed. "You benefit enormously from shared defense. You cannot replicate this alone." Elaine met his gaze. "We already have." The data shifted again. Decentralized logistics, redundant infrastructure, civilian-trained emergency fleets, independent planetary response units. Thousands of them. No single point of command, no single point of failure. The chamber grew very quiet. Koresh leaned forward. This is a parallel system." Elaine nodded. "Always has been." "Then why attend at all?" demanded another delegate. "Why negotiate for years?" Elaine's expression softened. Regret, not triumph. "Because we hoped you'd choose resilience over control," she said. "We were wrong." A tremor passed through the chamber. "What happens now?" Koresh asked, voice low. Elaine took a breath. "Now," she said, "humanity steps back. No sanctions, no retaliation, no escalation." She let the words settle. "We will trade freely. We will offer aid when asked. We will defend ourselves if required. But we will not bind our survival to systems that cannot bend." One by one, the human delegation stood. No weapons, no dramatic gestures, just resolve. As they turned to leave, a junior analyst whispered, his mic still live, "If humans aren't constrained by the accords, what happens if a real galactic crisis occurs?" The question echoed. Elaine stopped at the threshold. She looked back, not at the arbiter, but at the entire chamber. "Then you'll understand," she said quietly, "why we never needed permission to act." The doors closed. The chamber remained frozen. Data analysts ran projections at frantic speed. Scenarios unfolded and collapsed. Without humans anchoring the accords, response times slowed. Redundancies vanished. Assumptions failed. The galaxy had not lost an ally. It had lost a stabilizer. Koresh sank into his seat, dread pooling in his chest. "They didn't threaten us," he murmured. "They didn't posture." "No," an aide replied softly. "They withdrew." Across known space, the realization spread. The moment the sparring circle went quiet. Too quiet. Cadet Rethkon stood at the center of the combat ring, towering over his opponent. He was Karun, dense-boned, thick-muscled, evolved on a world with crushing gravity and constant competition. Among his people, dominance was not cruelty. It was communication. Across from him stood Cadet Hannah Ward, human, slight, still. Her stance was wrong for academy combat. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees bent, not aggressive, not defensive, just balanced. Valak checked the readouts again. Training parameters were set to standard, impact dampeners active, force limits enforced.
Safe.
Rethkan flexed his claws, mandibles spreading in what his species considered a grin. You should withdraw, he rumbled, voice echoing through the chamber. This pairing is inefficient. Hannah didn't answer right away. She adjusted her gloves, rolled her shoulders once. I'm good, she said calmly. That earned a ripple of amusement from the observation tier. Rethkan had a reputation. He didn't break rules. He bent them. He targeted weaker cadets, pushing just far enough to humiliate without triggering intervention. Most instructors stepped in early. Valak hesitated. The human data file said Hannah Ward had below-average academy metrics. Strength, moderate. Speed, unremarkable. Reaction time, inconsistent. But there was a note, one Valak had seen before and dismissed as cultural bias, unusual stress response. The signal tone chimed. Begin. Rethkan moved instantly. He didn't rush. He advanced, slow, heavy steps designed to intimidate. The deck plates vibrated faintly beneath his weight. Hannah didn't retreat. That was mistake number one. Rethkan struck, not a full blow, but a sweeping shove meant to knock her off balance and end the match quickly. Hannah shifted. Not fast, not flashy? She stepped in. Her forearm met his wrist at an angle that redirected force instead of resisting it. The impact dampeners flared, confused. Rethkan blinked as his momentum carried him half a step forward. The audience went silent. Rethkan snarled and swung again, harder this time. The strike connected. Hannah flew backward. Valak tensed. His hand hovered over the override, but she didn't hit the wall. She rolled. Clean, controlled, came up on one knee, breathing steady. The sensors spiked. Stress hormones rising, adrenaline surging. The human wasn't panicking. She was warming up. Rethkan laughed. You endure well, he said. But endurance is not victory. He lunged. This time Hannah didn't block. She absorbed. The impact drove her back several steps, boots screeching against the deck. Pain flared across her ribs, sharp, insistent. But pain wasn't new. Pain was familiar. Okay, she thought distantly. There it is. Her heart rate stabilized. Her vision sharpened. Something inside her settled into place. Humans called it many things. Fight or flight, adrenaline response, survival instinct. But Hannah had learned the truth back on Earth. This wasn't panic. This was focus. Rethkan grabbed her arm and twisted, applying leverage that would have dropped most cadets instantly. Hannah let him. She stepped closer, reducing the torque. Her free hand snapped up, not striking, just connecting, to a pressure point along his upper limb. Rethkan froze, not paralyzed. Confused. His grip loosened for half a second. That was all she needed. Hannah shifted her weight, hooked a foot behind his ankle and pulled, using his own mass and forward momentum. The giant Karun lost balance. He hit the deck hard. The impact dampeners flared again, struggling to keep up. The chamber erupted. Rethkan roared, scrambling to his feet, humiliation burning hotter than pain. He charged now, not controlled, not careful. Valak shouted, Cadets, stand down. Too late. Rethkan swung wildly. Hannah ducked. She moved faster now, not because she was stronger, but because she was predicting, reading muscle tension, watching center of mass, anticipating force. She struck, not with fists, but with placement. A shoulder check to redirect, a shove to destabilize, a precise kick to the side of the knee, not damaging, just interrupting motion. Rethkan stumbled again. Panic flickered across his alien features. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He tried to overpower her. Hannah stepped inside his reach, pressed her forearm against his chest, and drove. Every muscle in her body engaged at once. Not strength, coordination, bone, tendon, balance, leverage. The Karun slammed into the barrier wall. Hard. The dampeners screamed. The room went dead silent. Rethkan slid to the floor, stunned, struggling to orient himself. Hannah stepped back immediately, hands open, breathing heavy but controlled. I'm done, she said. Match over. Valak finally hit the override. The force fields dropped. Medical drones swarmed. Rethkan was alive, bruised, shaken. His pride lay in pieces. The instructor stared at Hannah Ward in disbelief. You're injured, Valak said. She nodded. Yeah. Then why didn't you disengage earlier? Hannah thought about it. Because if she had, Rethkan would have learned nothing. Because bullies relied on hesitation. Because humans had learned, over thousands of years, that sometimes the only way to stop a threat was to let it reveal itself fully. Because he wasn't going to stop, she said simply. The Academy inquiry lasted weeks. Footage was analyzed frame by frame. Biomechanics experts argued. Psychologists debated. The conclusion unsettled them all. Humans were not optimized for dominance. They were optimized for escalation control. They absorbed pressure, adapted mid-conflict, functioned better once stress crossed a certain threshold. Where others faltered, humans focused. Rethkon was reassigned. Hannah was not punished. Instead, the Academy quietly updated its safety protocols. New note added to the human profile. Do not provoke under controlled conditions. Humans do not peak at baseline. They peak when pushed. Cadets began giving humans more space after that. Not because they were violent, but because they had learned something unsettling. Humans did not seek conflict, but once it found them, they finished it. If this touched you, show your love in whatever way feels right. They lost a galactic war to humans who forgot to switch off stun mode. The war had been going according to every predictable pattern. The Orvathi Empire deployed fleets with surgical precision. Entire star systems fell in days. Civilizations surrendered before humans even raised shields. That was the plan, until humans forgot to turn off stun mode. Commander Talar of the Orvathi High Command watched in disbelief as the human defense fleet approached Epsilon Prime. Sensors showed overwhelming firepower, and yet no one died. Planets burned, structures collapsed, yet not a single human ship exploded. Civilian and military units alike moved in perfect coordination, but all their weapons emitted harmless pulses of energy. "Are they malfunctioning?" muttered a junior officer. Talar's mandibles twitched. "Impossible. Every ship is equipped with lethal modules, every protocol tested." On the bridge of the human flagship, Captain Sarah Nguyen tapped her console. Alarms blared. She frowned at the readouts. "Oh no," she said softly. "We forgot to disable stun mode." Her crew froze. "Wait," said her first officer. "We've been winning the entire battle?" Sarah shrugged. "Apparently." The humans moved across the battlefield like dancers, stunning enemy ships, disabling shields, immobilizing war machines, but never killing. Entire Orvathi divisions surrendered voluntarily, confused, humiliated, and unable to comprehend a foe who could neutralize without destruction. When the Emperor received the report, he demanded immediate clarification. "How could this happen?" he thundered. "Why are our fleets incapacitated?" The Orvathi commanders explained, and the Emperor's crest flickered in disbelief. Humans hadn't been cautious. They hadn't plotted clever maneuvers. They hadn't even meant to win in the traditional sense. They had simply forgotten a setting. And that simple mistake, stun mode left active, had saved billions of lives and overturned the entire war. The Orvathi Empire withdrew to negotiate terms. Across the galaxy, analysts debated endlessly. Was it genius, luck, a fluke of human carelessness? The truth was simpler. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, resilient, and sometimes their mistakes were the deadliest weapons of all.